Malalau mali e aho e ki moe lele i Tonga hono kotoa, whia ke o taritani lele ki mo tonu, ki o mo ngahi o ngongo mo le tio, kai o ai televisoni Tonga ki he hoani, i he wakaiko ia ki ngahi ulo i o ngongo. Whamahino me he poto ngawe mo uine i kai ki toi leko ti hapuke fo i he maha ki HIV talo me he taawa whitahawa. Kei ha mai pe ai kohu me he mo ngahi home reef, ka hui kai malawa ki ni whakatupu ha mau ki Tongani, pe a whakailonga i Tongani e tāhine prinsesi pino le vutuita ai tohi whakamanatu o e palofesa whatutohi iloa ko e pele hau ofa. O guto e pe ngahi tala noa kehana iange pe ai tawakai ki ngahi o ngongo me he malae o sipoti kai uma ai tu o ngā oi ea. Ko e wakailewa e ni ki he whakai ki ko au liliani polutele. O gulahi mauhala ai toko lahi i Tongani o pehe, ne toe mau ai toko nima fo e mahaki HIV. Ka o ku whakamahino me he poto ngā awe mo ui, o i gai hapuke fo pehani ihi fo ke le konti. Ko toko nima pe he lolo Tongani i Tongani o kuna puke i he mahaki HIV, ka koe ni ihi pe ne o si puke me he ngahi tau ko maliwatu o i gai koha ni ihi fo Ko e whakaiki ki o taranoa ko ia mo senolita tui mai.
I he whaike eke a ngonga le te o Tonga mo i tuke tā pule wa amahaki pipi he potonga e mo ui tuke tā Joseph tā kai. Nāne pehe koe ni ihe koe nina e kāwi i lie kōti whamuimui taha i e ta uanoa taha wā. Koe tokanga ka uhine whi awe a ki hole o ni whamatala o pehe o ku puke fo e toko nima o pehe koe toko nima e ni mei fisi. O kumahino whai tokanga ki fisi, koe hui ko i mawholai ai maha ki HIV, moe le ko ti wha aho pe e kakai o kunau mao ai maha ki HIV i fisi. Na toi whapapau i e peto ki tātā kai o i kai ke te iai hapuke who i he lolotongani.
Ako hui whoki koe tuunga ko poki ai lolotonga koe ni au pui ka fisi, pao whai rewa no si koe ni tongani. So koe keis whakalupua whakakatoa pe ni e nima i Tongani he tai nimi, talo he o he mamalu e kopai mo tui hono toka kai kina. So tau keisi i motu a taha pe kon koe, ia nga tau koe nuku o toka na fope o toko tua pe koe mahaki koe ni e vailas koe ni HIV. Nea na ue he waftaha ua, so o tau lele mai ai, koe ko hake o e keisi o e nima koe ni, hake koe ko no interpret he toko lahi, i he ki o ngongo koe na tuka te matani toka, O te eki ki aha tau keisi i a tau tolu i he whaitoko nima koe ni, me te ki aha taha ia e pak mai me outbreak i koe ni si so ki he kau whanongo mo ki nga toko tau pena e mangwe o ngongo koe ni he HIV ko tau lo tonga hao pe tau te ki aha taha e puke pe mako mai me he tau mahaki koe ni si o diagnosis pe sidio mau i Tongani, so tau ki hao pe ta whakea, so koe tau ni mai koe nia koe tau keisi motu ai a tau toru lo tonga i e tō kana, tau si au mai tau toru pokan koe ni wā me tupu, wā a waftaha wā ni koe ko whamatala ni nai, ai fōwhat ai tō taha koe ne mau, i he kuke i he porokala mai tō ni mai koe ni waftaha walere mai ai, oku tokangai kina i ai tō he porokala mai, i porokala kongui hono si o pie, so koia ai ko ki te peia le ko tike mahino ane te ki aha tau ke fo o tau toluia i mo in mahi chai ke pe ko hu mai me pisi
Lolotongani o iai pe mai whakatokanga ke whāna wako tonga o kunau te whoki at ke whenga ko i fisi, ka hui koe mahu inga ai mo ui whaehi e hi.
Hui koe tau pononga at whoki ani ke whamatai whoki e tau whāna ki fisi. E nā woho pape ako, nā tonu nai o si aipe, ka koe whoken ke whakakakate ngā sile soni. Ta men i who koe nā toki o atu wensi. Ke nā kamata e nā polokala māto ki sisi, tau koe pale i te ako ku tokanga pe urasi pe, tokanga o pito ke tumunga kone upi ai HIV sisi. O e tau maha, e kuosi ai e toko lahi nā puke ai e ponua koe ni, pe au kai pe kau matakari ke. O ko ma vele ko ti ka te ki ke na hanga so ti ne ki na so mai e pia ha tau ka tong ha post na ka to ke ma ha so ne HIV ko to ko ni pe ne pe ne le pe ki fa talan no mo fa va ya ne pa ku ke fononga tu ke fononga ke ya ko to ka nga pi to ke nga tu ke nga me ko ni nga ulunga nga ni te hanga so ba ko la ku ke ko ni ka pa te ta to ka uru aki se vai las koe ni pa ma pola e mo usi awa ki tokanga lele au pita pita pa aki koe a ua tokanga ki ngahi aki koe ni ngahi pai toko na kapu koe ni huku koe ni pai toko ke si le tangata aka pau o kuya ha mahengi se koe ha kakai unau kalatara noa ka koe te nau hanga viri take atu ke mua whakahoko anga hi tō o ngā mui te he ke kore te moe ta pōngu me nai nā i ke ta oki au te ngai ngai tō o ngā kuia ke ngai tō o ngā mui tene hanga o whakahoko tu i rea mapua ka pari na puke tata te whita peke vai la tene ki chai ta pāle lo ka hawhai ngā maari ke lava to testi o wai iri pia pau te ongo peki taka ki tak sai pe te sai pa pau te a tanki tō ngā mui ke se mau peke te ki laka peo testi ke vai la koe ni.
O ku mahina koe toko nima aku nau kei puke i he maha ki HIV, tālu mei he wanoa tahawa, koe toko tolu whewhine, moi toko wa tangata. Koe ni ihi koe ni kona o sifrake ake lelei, pe aku lolo Tongatau hi pe ki nau tolu i he polo kalama toka ngai kina, ai potu ngāwe mo ui.
O ku kei hamai pe lolo tongani ngāhi kohu o ku puhi hake mei he motu mo o ngāwhi home reef, he lia hona whakatoa ngai e hango pai late, i hawaka puna ai kautaha Fiji Airways i he e nā whewhalau aki mei whisi ki wawao. Peti Blake ilo lahia mo whakai ki iki.
I he whakamatala ko tukmai me he kautaha malai waka puna a tonga pe TAL, ne nau maui lipoti me he ongo pai late ai kautaha Fiji Airways, hilia e na whakatoka ngai i he e na whewhalau aki, ai kohu hina o ku ashake i hamo o ngāwhi, he halanga wakapuna me whisi ki tonga ni, i he taimi hawhe ai ni mae whiawhi a nea whi. Koe na whakafuafua o tue mo tuni i he maile e whanima me malai wakapuna lupe pau u. Kana e toi whakapapau i me kapteni ai wakapuna Twin Otter David Tamau, koe motu mo ngāwhi home reef pe o ku ashake ai kohu koe ni. Pehe me pot ngau e whanua o ngau Moimoi i ofi pe ai tuunga o ki ai motu mo ngā whini, pe au sisi au pitoha mau e ala hoko me ai ke kakai o wawau mo haapai. I e whakamatala e tale kita ai wa asiolo ki Reni vai o mo unga ki o ngongo ale tio Tonga, na lava atu ai timi i he konga ki mui o e tauko o si, o wakai o ke mo uipe ai mo ngā whikoe ni. Ko ia o kua ngā maheni pē ke kei kohu, mo tupu ai lahi ai mo ngā whi, i he mahino, o kune kei tukuange mai pē ai efu mo e pela vela. Pehe e vai o mo unga neongo e ni, ka au i he tuunga whakawhie maali e pē ai home reef, o i kai i he tuunga ke hoko ai hawhakatu tā maki.
Ai ko ripoti ko na mautuku atu ki he atau taha ko tisema. E tau ko si, o mahino pe o kei mo ui pe ai home reef. Pa he taim ta tau pena fai pe ai whakatokanga pe ia ki he kakai wawau mo hapai mo kau takawhi atu ai ke nau mama o me ai i hata nautical maire e ua. Ka oku i kai ke pe he ke ai hafu tuunga whakatu tā maki. Ai tuunga koe ai home reef ki he kakai wawau pe mo hapai. Ka he taim ta tau pe o mau kei whai pe hono siofi. Ai tuunga ko o kuia a home reef. Ka ku iyo ko maoni pe ia au kohu a home reef. Ka i he tuunga pe o whawhi maari e ngari i kai ke aha whatu tāmaki e hoko. Ka he taim tatau pe o ke whai pe wharei ki he kakai whanua ke nau mama o pe o e whai hawhi ki he mo ngāwhi koe ni.
Kai ke he o kei toko at pe hawkatokanga me pot ngau e whanua, ke kau whalau tahi mo ni ihi i ngahi o tumotu ofi ke mo o ngāwhi, ke nau whakamama o me motuni i hamaile e ua, ka e walewa ko whakapapau i ai tuunga malu ai motuni. Ma ai ngongo ai le tio mo televiso ni Tonga, ko au Peti Blake i lahia.
Neongo ai mamao atu e palo whesa whatu tohi i loa i Tongani, mo e Pasifiki ko e peli hau ofa, ka aku kei manongi pia alaha pe e ni ngahi whatu tohi mo e whakatotolo whahistolia. Kua whatuai i hono ngahi kau ngā me a kawai e ni ihi i me Tongani, ha tohi whakamanatu o i histolia mo lava mea e palo whesa i loani. Ne whakailonga i ai i Tongani a neawhi, ai tohi whakamanatu koe ni, ai ane mea i tā hine princesi sa alo te mawhile o pilo levo tuita, o whakaola a hono kamata whaka a tātu e tohini i Tongani.
Ko hono whake tuini e kaunga mea o e peli hau ofa ka koe tangata palofesa iloa he Pasifiki ko Stephen Ratova ai tohini ke tahine prinsesi sa lote mawhile o pilo levu tuita. I he tohini ko kato iai e ngai whamatala historia o hau ofa, pe eke ni ngai lava mea i he malae o i whatohi mai whatotolo wha historia. O kau kiai me ngai tala noa meli e katoa peo whikau aki mo i palofesani. Aine me ai e tahine prinsesi pilo levu tuita, o kune mea ni lei pea hau ofa ko uhina ni whahak whatongia ko skelitalia ki a tau whaahau tu pou wha i ngahi taulahi. I kai koe pe, kana e hoko ni tangata eki a e peli, a whaifkau i skeli hau ofa, ko e tahi e kau whaifkau whakatui he ngahi taulahi ki he ne awhio, hili ni ngāwe whamisnale i Papua New Guinea i he ngahi taulahi. Aine te mea e tahine prinsesi ko e fua ia e ngāwe whamisnale a whaifkau i skeli hau ofa, au kai e hono whohaia e peli, i he ne hoko ko e taha e ngahi kalowhiama ki e tautangata lahi i he malae o iako. Ni te mea tahine prinsesi ni ongo na e hoko ko e palonfesa whatohi mo i whaiako university he taulahi, ka kune manat me lie ki e taha e ngahi ulunganga o hau ofa, o ikai ke ilo ikai he toko lahi, ko e tangata na e ngāwe fie maalie pia ngāwe maalohi. O hai he taimi na ane kei whahak whatungia i he ofise palasi, ai ana ane whawhaingo fua ai ngai fie maa o whakatau wholofola ki he tu i ai kakai. Ko e peli hau ofa na e whaile ia he tautahiwa toluhiwa, pea ne onko ni al smaloloat he wafe mahiwa, kau kei alahape ni ngāwe, ke hui kei ke solaia ki tongani i he lahia ni ngahi whatotohi, o wiesi lapa ko e potu ngāwe ako, ai ako ako ai e ngahi kalas maalunga, o i ngahi ako angakorisi i tongani. Nā ne toi whotu whoki pa mai Sentai Universite Pacific Tonga ke ako historia pa mai Oceania, mo i ngahi lapa mea ke kehepe ko osfotu u ke tohi whamanatu koe ni. Ko e tohini ko atatuia i he laipeli e Universite Pacific Tonga mai ngahi whaitu kehepe i he Pasifiki. Ko e polokalama ne whiawhine take he Universite Whawhanua Tongani, pe he ke whingai aki mai ngahi kaunga mea o e peli hau o whai Tongani, o hangi ko pale mia mālolo, lo tsevele o vailahi, mo lo pet senturi ko e taha o kinau tolu na nau kau i hono o atu, ai ngai whamatala ki hono whatu o e tohi whamanatu koe ni. Ne ki polokalamani pa mai pule University of Canterbury, New Zealand, pe he ke kau whakawhi toko lahi. Mai ngonga le te o me televisione Tonga, ko au vai whanua tō Paula.
Ko e uni o ngongo whakalota whanua ia ki hoani ko ngahi o ngongo me malae o sipoti, hoko mai mō pie a olie.
O ko teo ke hiki atu ka pakau te tangi hi Tonga e Hurricanes pia mo timi toko fitua New Zealand fehi whinenga nofo ki Britania. Hiri fehu Super Rugby Pacific mo NBC o i tauni. Kua ala mai e kalapu koia ai Newcastle Red Bulls o hamusi atu e tareniti o whinenga nofo ki tau eua ka mata he whaasinga i tauni ki he wanoa ua fitu. Ko talu whukeni ni whamoni ale pau mo Hurricanes in November wanoa ua wha, wainga tu o taha uai o tohi pe mo rekoti ko te tao iono pe mai kalapuni he ni tau ua tolu. Lo tonga whoki e nei he timi ko e Hurricanes na te wainga i whiahi NBC mai Bay of Plenty, pe toi whanaha fotu he timi toko fitu whawhanua anu sila me hi wanoa ua tolu ki he wanoa ua wha horuni ai ko ia i he timi nai whalawat ki whalanse i he sporti olimpiki. Nā ni whahawhokei ku whawhiawhia whenga maari e koini ko whaki mai pe me he Newcastle Red Bulls, a ko e lorotonga niu nofu taha ni whakaukau, pe mo ene taumua i he whiahui ko ia malai supa. Nā ni whamalo ia i pe inu nga Paula New Zealand, ko timi tō fitu whawhanua New Zealand, pe heke kalampu ko ia Bay of Plenty, mo timi Hurricanes, i nau whetokoni ako tō pe malawa o sia tau mua koini, ohi kia tō ki tō pureanga. Teu te whoki ke hiki whakatahat pe mo e nihi ke, ki tō pureanga, ka ko e lorotonga ni, ko whehi whinenga nofo pe kua mahino e kalampu e hiki atu ki ai. Kake, neongo i kai ke loto i whai ako, Clark Lake Loa ke tukuange, a whinea anofo pia me i he timi koe Hurricanes, ka koe ni, tala monu e pia kia teia, i he whiri koe kune whahako ki ono kaha u. Koe sipoti pia.
Ko e wakailewa e ni ki he tuonga o e ea i hono tuku mai me wa wakaimatangi a Tonga i whamotu whakahoko atu e pete lo taulaki.
Malolo mari e ho eki molele e tonga ko toa tai tai le mo toki whako te ta whamtala e koe ki he whiawhini. Hoko ato e pe tau whaifonunga mo na tula ta tau e hai tau whaifonunga mo ngai aho koe ne tato kisi tō mai ai kei mawhana pe hau mawhana e a mamata ke fofonga e la a bela e la a e tau whaifonunga koe ni. Kai whatonga e angi a ngai taimeni ai ha au fia pe e ma uhatu mo tō pe malava ke lolo lahi mo malava ke ha mana ia ngai whitu pe e ni. Tau whaifonanga mo ngahi hou koe na tau toksi tō me baka i misa te lai tēnā lahi peke alo mahari ko tō peo tonga. Tāna ia ngahi whitu e ni nai uhatu mo tō ai nengo peke hātu e ni pe a lolo lahi. E whuka alo tamaki uhau nofo ia ki e ria ko ia o e ongo ni ua. Ngahi aho koe e ni maka hoko mai e tau whaifonanga koe ni ko tō apelo luka mata ke teka haviri o wangi me he tonga hihifo. E te tau whakafofua e te ki moko angi whahoke ngahi aho koe na tau toksi tō me ai. E whuka alo tamaki uho whai atu e siot ki he whasinga ugenga una ke me whatonga ki tau e ria. E te me mai ha uhatu tō malawa ke lolo lahi ai. Peo hanga hei alo maari koe me whakatonga i hifo mama o atu o teke kotoa ke mawahe o nofu alo tamaki uho koe ni ki he whakatoke lau ke tau nofu atua i moha haviri wangi moko me he tonga ke whakasinga ia o e wike koe ni. Ka ki he whiawhina whaiwhanonga tahi ke poponga lahi peke alo maari e ko tau peo tonga e ai mawhangi uhatu mo tau peo whaau ke te ao awhia nge aiongo ni ua moha uhatu mo tau malawa ke lolo lahi ke ai. Koe haviri, ko tau peo o tonga o wangi eki mo whiangi aki. Aia pea oku siwanga wakai atu ki tahi oku toka maari e opito a tahi. Ki he ko tau peo ngai po tahi ko ia o e otu tonga. Koe fua mawhanaena, he maulalo tahau ke i mawhana pe ea i he taimpo uri. O kua peke te kri se siasi uanima ua ono ki he kotoa pe o tu tonga. Koe tau whaiwhanonga koe bongbongi kei nofo pe alo tamaki ua ia honua mai au awhia o kuku malawa ki lalo lahi. Pea kamata peke matawhi atu pea tonga koe tonga ulahi peke alo maari e mamata ke whunga la pe tonga unu hake pe au awhia ai whakatonga tau te whitu Tongatapu mo ewa kai pehe ki hapai ki heua i whiawhimuha uha tu mo tō ki ai. Koe fua mawhanaena neo ngō ku au awhia mo whenga maari ki ha uha tu mo tō ki he e ria ko Tongatapu mo e ma whana uta pe e ai o ke te grise sase tōrua kai pehe ki hongo niwa e malawa pōa o ki he tōrua pe tō taha bela ko ea ki a pongi. Ko tonga koe aho, pao pike au awhia kumu e ria ko wawau, e lahi pike au awhia, mawau hapai Tongatapu kai pehe ki e ua, moha whainga maari e ki ai moha uha tu mo tō ki ai. Koe taimi ko ia o e tahi, tau maari e tahi i he pōni, to e nima koe ke hiwa, maa toka ia i he osnima koe me he tōlu a hengi. Koe la ama mahina hopa la i he oskwata ko ia me ono, to ai mahina o si walu ko ia me he hiwa pōria a pongpongi. Koe ahanema koe ni ka hako mai ki Nuku'alofa, whatonga ingi koe tua pulurua o ke monite, alo maari mamata ke whunga la a, na whatonga iangi e iaiha uha tu mo tohe tau whaifononga koe ni neongo ene. Ha fufunga mai la a, pea malawa ke lolo lahi, pea malawa ke mo mana tau te whito ki he whalaite. Iai pe ngai ni rio tau ngā unu atu tau te whito ki he hoka kone mana i he whalaite, pe hoko pe i kai. Koe fua mawhana whatonga e te ki mokomoko ange ka matatu e whalaite tupe me teka koe hawiria wangi me he tonga hihi fo ke taimpo uri. Ka koe taima aho kei vela pe aila a. Koe tau ngata ngā pe ki he whiawhini ka he whamalo te tau kau ka mo mea.
Koe tō ngaia oi ea ka tau toi wakaiangi pehe ke ngāhi ulu i o ngō. Whamahino me he poto ngāwe mo uine i kai ki toi leko ti hapuke fo i he maha ki HIV talo me he taoa whitaha wā. Kei hā mai pe ai kohu me mo ngāwhi home reef, ka i kai malawa ke ni whakatupu ha mau ki Tongani. Pea whakailonga i Tongani e tāhine princesi pilo levo tuita ai tohi whakamanatu o i palau whesa whatu tohi iloa ko e peli hau ofa. Mo e kakato e peia o i ngāhi o ngongo mo le teo kai uma ai televisione tonga ki e hoani me whakaamu, nau taki kotoa atu peia ke loto whale kotoa. Kai malo e tau kei whi au mai, ka mo mea.
Good evening and welcome to your English news with Radio and Television Tonga for the hour. Leading our bulletin tonight, Health Ministry clarifies that no new HIV cases have been recorded since 2012. Town Geological Services confirms volcanic activities at Home Reef, but assures the public that there's no immediate threats of a volcanic eruption. And Her Royal Highness Princess Pilolevu Tuita has launched a book honouring E Peli Hau'ofa titled Remembering E Peli Hau'ofa, His Life and Legacy. We'll have these and more stories coming up later on in the bulletin, as well with the latest news from sports and the weather update. Now for the news in detail, I'm Paula. The Ministry of Health has clarified that the HIV cases recently reported in local media outlets are not new cases, and that the ministry has been treating these cases since 2012. Senator Tuivai has more on that story.
Speaking to Radio Tonga News, the Chief Medical Officer of the Communicable Diseases Unit, Dr. Joseph Takai, says that these individuals were included in the most recent official records, which date back to 2012. The reports of these HIV cases earlier this year caused concern, as it was believed there were new cases contracted following the rapid rise in cases spreading in neighboring country Fiji. It is understood that attention has been focused recently on Fiji because HIV remains prevalent there, with new cases being recorded regularly. Dr. Takai reaffirmed that here in Tonga there have been no new HIV cases recorded up to the present time. The 5 cases of HIV that has been drawing attention to were 5 individuals, 3 female and 2 male, who have been under the treatment of the ministry for several years now. Meanwhile, as many students prepare to return to university with the start of the semester coming up, a warning has been issued to Tongan students who are preparing to return to Fiji, emphasizing the importance of practicing safe and preventative health behaviors.
The Director of the Tonga Geological Services, Reni Moimoi, has confirmed volcanic activities at Home Reef, but assures the public that there's no immediate threat of a volcanic eruption. Patty Plegilolahia has more.
According to information from Tonga Airports Limited, pilots of an afternoon Fiji Airways flight from Fiji to Vava'u observed white smoke rising from an island about 45 nautical miles from Lupepau Airport. Captain David Tama'u, pilot of the Twin Otter aircraft traveling from Vava'u to Tongatapu, confirmed that the island releasing smoke is the Home Reef volcano. In an interview with Radio Tonga News, the Deputy Director of Tonga Geological Services, Reni Moimoi, confirmed that Home Reef remains in an active eruptive state and continues to be closely monitored. He emphasized that while further small eruptions and ash releases are possible and considered normal, the activity does not pose an immediate threat to nearby islands. However, Moimoi urged caution, advising mariners and the public to maintain a distance of at least 2 nautical miles from Home Reef until further investigations are completed. Reporting for Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Betty Blake, Ilolahia.
And the legacy of one of the Pacific's most influential scholars, the late Professor Epeli Hau'ofa, continues to be remembered and celebrated for his significant influence in Tonga and the Pacific. A book honoring his life, writings and contributions to anthropology and the Pacific as well had been officially launched here in Tonga yesterday. I'll tell you more on that story. The Remembrance book was formally presented to Her Royal Highness by a prominent Pacific academic, Professor Stephen Ratuva, who is a close colleague and longtime friend of Professor Hau'ofa. Although Professor Epeli Hau'ofa passed away in 2009, his scholarly work and literary contributions remain deeply valued by friends, colleagues and students across the Pacific. The Remembering book brings together tributes and personal reflections from his colleagues and friends, including contributors in Tonga, which kept his memories, stories and insights that highlight Hau'ofa's endurance and the influence in his legacy. Speaking at the event, Princess Pilolevutuita said she knew Epeli Hau'ofa well through his many years of service as private secretary to the late King Taufa'ahau Tupou IV. She added that Hau'ofa's father, the late Reverend Iskeli Hau'ofa, also served for many years as royal chaplain, following his missionary work in Papua New Guinea.
My father knew that Reverend Epeli had spent many years as a missionary in Papua New Guinea. And I think it influenced perhaps his decision not only to appoint Iskeli Hau'ofa as the royal chaplain, but to also appoint Epeli Hau'ofa as the secretary for him. He saw that with these two Tongans that had spent many years outside of Tonga, they were able to be objective about situations that happened in Tonga at the time, and he needed that objectivity.
While Epeli Hau'ofa is widely known as a writer, lecturer and professor, the princess said that one of Hau'ofa's most admirable qualities, which was often unnoticed, was his humility and strong work ethic.
The other thing I remember seeing Epeli Hau'ofa was that everybody at the palace knew he was this distinguished lecturer. He was a PhD. He was very smart cookie. But what I was surprised with was how he managed to be at ease, not only in front of His Majesty when they were, because very often Epeli would walk in 10 in the morning and I'd be sitting there talking with my father. I saw my father every day or in the afternoon. And people were surprised to find how relaxed he was in front of His Majesty, and also His Majesty likewise was very relaxed with Epeli. The other thing I noticed, part of the secretary's, Epeli's duties while at the palace, was that he had to organize everybody that came to see His Majesty, whether it was foreigners, groups of foreigners, or groups of Tongans from other Pacific islands that came to see His Majesty. And His Majesty, my father, is probably the most accessible of all kings in Tonga. I'll say that. It wasn't difficult to get an appointment. You just go to the palace office, you give them your credentials, you tell them you want to see him, then you're given to Epeli or given to one of his matapules to actually, why do you want to see the king? And things like that. And then you go and see the king. Very rarely you were told you couldn't see him.
Professor Epeli Hau'ofa was born in 1939 and passed away in 2009. However, his legacy continues, with many of his works still included in Tonga's Ministry of Education's curriculum and also taught in senior secondary schools across the country. He was also the founder of the University of the South Pacific Center for Oceania and Pacific Studies. The event was organized by the Tonga National University in collaboration with Hau'ofa's colleagues in Tonga, which includes the former Prime Minister Lord Sevele o Vailahi and Lopeti Sentuli, a Tongan lawyer who contributed to the book's compilation. Also attending the ceremony was the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Canterbury in New Zealand, along with guests from across the academic and cultural communities. And that's it from the local scene. Sports is up next after this break with Pierre Ollier. Stay tuned.
Welcome back in sport. The Hurricanes winger Fehi Finenganofo will take his talents to the English Premiership following the 2026 Super Rugby Pacific and NBC seasons. The 23-year-old has signed a 2-year deal with Newcastle Falcons beginning in the 2026-27 season. Since joining the Hurricanes in late 2024, Finenganofo has made 12 appearances and crossed for 6 tries. He also built an impressive resume away from Super Rugby after playing 3 NBC seasons with a pay of plenty and starring for the All Blacks Sevens, including selection for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Finenganofo says while he's excited about the move, his full focus remains on New Zealand rugby for now. He says he's grateful for New Zealand rugby, pay of plenty, the Hurricanes and the All Blacks Sevens for helping him achieve his dream, especially through injury setbacks. Meanwhile, Hurricanes head coach Clark Laidlaw admits losing Finenganofo is disappointing, but says the club fully supports his decision to head overseas. And that's sports news.
There was sports with Pierre Ollier. Now looking at the latest weather update with Petelo Taulaki, a meteorologist from Tonga Met Office.
Evening once again from Tonga Middle to Coastal Radio Services. Continuously we will be talking high relative humidity, very strong sunshine, very hot, warm, feeling the heat. This is usual time of the year we have these kind of situations. Nonetheless, we will be having some showers, and please do take note, these showers could cause some hefty downpour, even some chance of thunderstorms at some few places. Take a look at the latest satellite imaging. We will experience widespread of fine, clear spells, blue skies, very strong sunshine across the area, with some isolated few showers we experience at some few places. Some thick clouds popping up towards to the near coast, northern of Nuku'alofa and New Tongatapu. For the next upcoming 5 days, here's our setup. Basically on Thursday, winds will be becoming southwesterly and pulling in some cooler temperatures. So a bit change in temperatures conditions, and we have a concern here, this cold front towards the south that will be sweeping across the area, bringing some rain, some chances of hefty downpour, even some chance of thunderstorms. So once again, thanks to this high pressure that will pushing everything to move further to the north, clears up everything, as we see here those spells of rain here towards the north, leaving us with cool southerly winds by the end of this week. Starting this evening, it's going to be widespread of fine with some isolated showers, scattered showers. Clouds will be turning into the north with some showers, some drizzle over Nuku'alofa and Tongatapu. The winds will be light and variable across the area of responsibility associated with slight seas. So if you are heading out throughout from time to time, seas there will be a good seas for fishing and ferries. Our lowest temperature still quite warm, uncomfortable for sleeping. So here are the significant figures. Here lies in the mid-20s, 25, perhaps 26 for the vast of maturities. And for tomorrow, still have that clouds here with some showers, could be possibly heavy at times, mist and heat showers towards to the newest. Elsewhere, very strong sunshine, but later in the afternoon, clouds will be turning in from the south, moving slowly across Tongatapu area, and even Hawaii with some few showers as well. And things started to clear off to the areas of the newest. Our temperatures will be in this range here a bit. Feeling the heat during the daytime, temperatures maximum over Tongatapu and area would be reaching 32, even though we might have some clouds and some showers here, but it could be reached that peak. Temperatures as well could be exceeded than 31, especially to the areas of the newest. So most of all, they will be experienced very warm, feeling the heat during the daytime. And for the rest of the day, clouds will be moving slowly across the areas here, Tongatapu, Hawaii, and so forth, with some chances of showers as well. Tide predictions, will be having our high tide for tonight at 8:45. Low tide will be 5 minutes past 3 tomorrow early. Sunrise will be 6:15 tomorrow morning, and the moonrise will be 2 minutes past 6 tomorrow morning once again, and the moonset will be tomorrow evening or tomorrow night at 8 minutes past 9. At last, the 5 days outlook for Nuku'alofa. In particular, for these 5 days, it will be very strong sunshine during the daytime. Nonetheless, we'll be having some showers, and these showers here could be heavy in time and causes some potentials of thunderstorms on Friday. But the winds once again will be turning southwesterly, so we'll be expecting some cooler temperatures at night time, especially starting by Friday until Monday. So we'll be expecting some 18 to 19 degrees Celsius, a bit cooler compared to the past few days. But of course, the daytime we're still feeling the heat of the sunlight. That's quite all from us for this evening. I'll see you once again.
That was Petelo Taulaki with the latest weather update, wrapping up your English news package for the hour. But before we part, here's one final look at tonight's top stories. Health Ministry clarifies that no HIV cases have been recorded since 2012. The Tonga Geological Services confirms volcanic activities at Home Reef, but assures the public that there's no immediate threat of a volcanic eruption. And Her Royal Highness Princess Pilolevutuita launched a book honouring Epeli Hau'ofa titled Remembering Epeli Hau'ofa, His Life and Legacy. That's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Paula. Good evening.